Now we are.
Are we live? We're live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. There you go. This is our honest review section of our Spotlight stream, where we talk about what we liked, what wasn't our favorite parts, and what we would change if given the opportunity for the game that we just did our Spotlight of. And this week, we have done our Spotlight of Tournament at Camelot, available everywhere on the interwebs and in your friendly local game stores. Most importantly, too, go out and support your friendly local game store. We're all about that.
And who makes it?
That is by WizKids. And we'd like to point out that this stream and all of this week's streams are sponsored by Tournament at Camelot by WizKids.
By WizKids. But first, who are we?
We're Twist Gaming, and I'm Matt.
And I'm the winner,
I'm
aka TP.
So she's the winner because, spoiler alert, she won both games that we played. Okay.
I threw some.
So if you haven't done so yet, feel free to go back and check out our Spotlight of the game. It was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. So we're going to talk first about what we liked about the game. So TP, since you are the winner this evening, why don't you lead us off?
I never get to do these, and now I get to start?
I know. It's a lot of pressure.
So, what I liked about this game, this was a lot of fun. The end. No. I liked that it was extremely balanced. Like, it was, Ken mentioned it was designed specifically to help people who are falling behind, and that is why I've hated playing board games until like maybe 5 years ago, because every time I played a board game and I lost, it was just miserable, sitting there waiting for everyone's turn to go through, knowing that there was nothing I can do, and even if there was something that I could do, I wasn't experienced enough to know and be able to strategize that. And this game combat that so perfectly. You got more power as you got lower. If you fell behind a certain amount, you got extra. Like, it was amazing in that sense. That was my favorite part about this game.
Absolutely. So first of all, I love the art on this, and Anne's not here to talk about this, because that's her baby. But Josh, is the card cam on?
I believe so.
So the artwork is absolutely gorgeous here. It's first off, it's got a lot of like scroll work, and I'm probably saying this wrong, but like filigrees in the corners and everything. But the artwork itself, the main pictures, are all the kind of scroll art that you would see in the old Arthurian legends. And I mean, part of it makes me also be nostalgic for watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail. When they have all the interlude scenes of the little cartoon drawings, it looks just like that. And I mean, obviously that's what they were mimicking, but the artwork is beautiful and very period appropriate. What else was there? Oh, each of the character cards, so there's unique character cards as well that each have their own different abilities, which I love. That's a nice thing to add some randomization and uniqueness to replayability in the games and stuff. But they all have text on the back, and it's actual text.
Actual flavor text?
Like flavor text, but not just flavor, it's historical flavor text. It's telling you about the characters and who they are.
Are you listening to this, Anne? It's Anne's favorite thing.
So that's not only on all the characters, but all the companions as well. So it gives you like a lot more in-depth
Get your
into
face out of the camera.
I
the
think
game
also
itself.
the God cards have like
God
a
set?
little bit of flavor card text on them too. Not as much, but
Oh, there we go.
so you really can hear that.
Right, so the top half of the Gods cards have their own flavor text as well, the Godsend cards. So again, they have their unique artwork, and they have a little bit of flavor text there as to what this is. Like, it's not just a random ability, it's not just a random thing, it's
based off of something, or there's some reason
the
for it.
history is there.
If you open up the first page of the rulebook, it is the history of King Arthur.
Oh, really?
And like all about it. Like it's about like how King Arthur is like, is really the history of a lot of different people meshed together. And
First
goes
off,
into that.
just I know it's too
It
close,
won't.
but it's beautiful. The book is beautiful. But yeah, so the first page is, I'm gonna butcher this because it's gonna be upside down. But yeah, I can't even show
You
it.
can't.
Show
even
it up, just put it right there.
That's true, I could do that. But so, the first full page is all the history of King Arthur.
Yeah,
Obviously an abbreviated history, but
abbreviated, but like
That's all that matters.
the fact that it's a board game and they're including this in there for your, reading sake, I like it a lot. It's just that ability of you to delve a little further in depth of the board game. It's a hook that grabs you in and keeps you interested. I would say when there's not a lot of action going on, but this game was very fast paced.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's ever a lull where you're going to be like, oh, let me read the back of this card because I'm bored now, because I wasn't bored playing this. The last thing I'd like to touch on before I go over to Josh is that you were mentioning the catch-up mechanism, and that's what you liked.
I mean, I liked a lot of things.
Right, well, that's one of your main things that you like. The fact that there is an implementation there for people to catch up, and they're not just watching their own demise happen without
the fact
anything
that
to do with
like
it.
that was the entire premise of this. Like that was the.
At the same time, it wasn't a nuke card in there as well. Like, I didn't think that any one of those completely broke the round and swung it from someone being ahead by, twice the amount to all of a sudden.
Unless you play a card on me, that lets you play all my cards face down.
That didn't even swing it. You still lost.
And that was a unique.
But I didn't die. It was more the fact that
you still took a lot of damage because I was able to neuter it a little bit with my abilities.
Yeah.
So
it was a unique combination that made that happen. But each card individually seems to be balanced enough that it doesn't catch you up too far, just enough.
Right, and we were looking through the player cards in the beginning, and we thought that some of them might have been a little OP compared to others, but as we were playing, it really balanced out nicely. Like, it didn't seem like any one of them was particularly outrageous compared to the others that we were playing with, no?
no, I don't think so.
Especially the combinations, they worked out very well.
I mean, I also like the fact that you have kind of like a secondary boost ability that happens when you go past a certain health threshold. So that's, again, a catch-up mechanism in itself. So, Josh, how about you?
I like this. When I read the rules, I was thinking of the card game Hearts, because it's about playing suits and caking tricks and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's a very similar mechanic, and when you said tricks down again, it's like Hearts is like the kind of
the granddaddy of trick-taking games.
It gave me, I play Hearts every now and then for fun and when I'm bored on my computer. So I had a little bit of a leverage over you, because I'm mad, I know you haven't played Hearts.
I have played Hearts. I have
never played it correctly.
Never played it correctly.
And I don't know about Nicole, if she has or not.
My name is The Winner.
The Winner are.
So I kind of, the first couple rounds, I wasn't taking many tricks. Which is kind of against my disadvantage, because I probably wanted to activate my abilities a little bit earlier.
Right.
And play that differently. So I was very good at the beginning, and then once you guys had your powers, I was like, yeah, I'm good at not taking tricks, but that doesn't really matter because I'm just taking a ton of damage from everything else. And
exactly.
And I couldn't mitigate things. And my ability was King Arthur's ability to use his sword, and when I finally got that unlocked, I got stolen. So I couldn't.
That would be the game.
It did.
Yep. But no, it was cool. So it took that ability and really. So the first game, I was like, all right, I'm playing this as a trick card game, and I'm not going to take the tricks because that's what we don't want to do. I got that mechanic down. I was working fine. I'm like, all right, next time, I'm like, I need to take some damage to start
catching up. You need to take the damage to catch up.
I need to take damage so I can activate my abilities and do a little bit.
Absolutely.
More, and that changed how that second game went. It was a lot more interesting and a lot more fun. But I agree. The catch-up mechanic is really good. So is the mustard.
The mustard mechanic. There you go. I
I
relish those jokes you're making.
I really like the. I know I'm pulling it back to me, but I really like the how different it is with every card.
Mm-hmm.
The replayability is phenomenal. I like that when we went down just 100 points, it changed the game completely.
Right.
Because not only does it make it shorter inherently because 300 versus 400, but also because your power gets activated sooner, and that's when the game really speeds up.
Right. Like each level is 100 points that you're going by, each card rather.
Mm-hmm.
So we shortened it by 25%. But the thing is that those first 100 points go significantly slower than the next ones because your cards are activating sooner. You're going to be taking more damage. You're getting more stuff to throw
Getting
around.
the godsends.
Right. So it speeds it up a lot more than you'd anticipate. The second game went a lot faster than the first game.
Absolutely.
I just want to say I love these oversized cards.
The tarot-sized cards. They're not quite tarot-sized.
They're not quite tarot-sized. They're a little small on that, but they are.
They look good on the stream too.
They look awesome on stream. I love giant games on stream because it makes it really easy to stream them.
Yeah.
So I don't have to zoom in on this little tiny card. Make it show off the art a little bit more, and it makes it that much cooler.
And it's beautiful art to show off too.
It's not like there's a lot of text on these cards. That's why they need to be so big. They're not. It's mostly.
It's literally just because it's pretty.
Yep.
And I know that must have cost a little
There
extra.
might
so
be
it's kinda cool.
some like historical significance to the size of the card. Maybe I have no idea.
Any history buffs out there, or people with Google in front of them,
Yes.
please feel free to let us know.
But no, I really enjoyed it. The only weird complaint is I don't know why they did a score system of 5 points for 400, where it could have been 1, 2, and 5 damage. Would have equaled the same thing, but that's not a.
What do you mean?
Instead of it being 5, 10, 25 damage, it could have been 1, 2, and 5 damage, and it would have been the same scale factor. So you would have started with. It's because I guess you have 400 life points.
Yeah.
So that
It
doesn't
scales
scale the
very
same.
well.
If it was 500 life points, it would be the same scale.
Sure.
But so that's I guess the one reason why it's to. I guess it was to shorten the game. Because if you scaled it exactly that way, you'd have to have 500 life points.
But if you took 400 divided by 5,
That's a weird number.
it's just a weird number. That's it. It would still be the same.
But then it would be hard to do like, okay, I have 10, 15, like it's...
1, 2, 3.
But if you're... It would be a weird...
It's not.
It's a
nothing.
nice round number.
That's the thing I was actually curious about too, is because it's weird that 5 was the lowest denomination. But now that I'm saying it out loud, it makes the 100 points scale a little bit differently. So I guess it shortens up the game in the grand scheme of things. Anything else that you guys want to talk about that you did like?
Uh,
I think we touched all the bases
You
there.
touched on all the
I
basics.
think we touched on mostly everything, but yeah.
So what we
Didn't
weren't the
necessarily
biggest
care for?
fans of, yeah.
I want to go last because I need to hear what you guys have to say.
So Josh already pointed out the scoring system, kind of.
That was just a notice. It's not a negative. It's just
Curious.
I was curious why they want that system more than anything.
I guess the only real complaints I'd have is just you could have some really rough hands in terms of getting bad cards dealt to you, kind of like you had with the Fate that one time, but you did it to yourself as well.
Yeah.
So
There is a level of randomness in the game.
yeah, there is a level of randomness.
And only so much strategy can compete so much randomness.
Right. And I feel like some of the abilities synergize more with the randomness than the others, which is my only gripe, if you can say that. I want to play this a few more times to really get a better feel of the game and what I don't like about it.
A
But
5 and 6 player game is going to play a lot differently.
yeah, I think that's what I'm really interested in, as to how the bigger games go.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a silly complaint of mine, but I wanted to always take whatever the card was and just flip it over. So it goes from 400 to 200 and then 300 to 100.
Yeah.
So
I can see. I saw. The one time I messed with it, I got a little confused. I don't know if there's a reason for it. There might be a reason.
it's so
for
you
it.
could stack them under like that and just go to the next card.
It makes sense,
And then flip that over.
but it just didn't feel natural.
Every time I wanted to just like, okay, let me flip this over, and yeah, that's such a minor gripe in the grand scheme of things.
The one thing that I was curious about before we started playing, which I guess is worth mentioning, is that I saw the price. It was, I believe it's an MSRP of $24.95. I want to say. Tell me if I'm wrong, Josh. If you
I believe
want.
that's correct. I started
It's not bad for a game. I mean, it definitely probably compares to other things on the shelf. Knowing that it was just a card game, I don't know if I would have personally picked it up off the shelf for $25.
I think the fact that it's the larger size cards would make me say yes, but I also don't know how that affects the price
I
point.
didn't know that going in.
That's true, you wouldn't know it from looking at the box.
I mean, I didn't. There's a lot of cards, and now that I know how many actual cards in this game, it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't have known that and wouldn't have thought that it was worth the value looking at it on the shelf. Seeing how many cards are actually in here, knowing that they went with beautiful artwork, knowing that they went with oversized cards makes it make more sense to me. And now that price point seems totally valid, totally worth it, and I would have no problem paying that much. But I do want to note that it's something to keep in mind when you're looking at this and debating whether to buy it. It is worth it.
Maybe a better health marker.
Just getting picky.
Very
Like, really,
picky
we're getting
right now.
really...
I know.
Because there's really nothing
I don't
to say.
like to say there are no issues that I have with the game. I want to be able to say something, you know what I mean? But that's nitpickiness at its extreme.
It has nothing to do with the actual mechanics. It was a little bit random. But that's what made it fun.
Well, the fact that it's multiple rounds too helps mitigate that, because your odds of getting bad hands
It
in a
helped
row.
me because I don't strategize. I don't think the way you guys do, where you're calculating 10 steps in advance. So the random of it,
Oh, I'm not doing
the randomness of it really helped me. So that to me is not a bad thing.
No, it definitely adds something. So it can't just be pure strategy, and then you fall
But
behind.
it
quicker if
didn't
you're not
feel like
experienced.
it didn't feel like you won because of a dice roll. Like 'cause that's what it comes down to sometimes.
That's true. Yeah.
And it didn't feel like that at all.
Plus, it adds more replayability to the game.
Yeah, because every time I love this game.
I really don't have any complaints. My colorblindness was an issue. That wasn't.
That's true. That never really came up.
Everything had symbols on it. They did a good job of making sure everything was very distinct from
They
each
had
other.
multiple symbols on it. Like, not only did they go with the color differentiation. I don't know if you want to show
Yeah, they had color differentiation.
different. There's a color
differentiation.
difference.
The tint is slightly different between poison cards and regular cards. They added the skull and crossbones and the blood
they added the blood
for the poison cards. All of the numbers also line up with the number of symbols on the card, so you can
Like playing card.
like a playing card.
Like, they really went into detail on this, and I think it's fantastic.
Every character has unique art. There's a lot of unique art.
I literally have nothing. I don't have anything negative to say. It pisses me off.
The one negative, the rule book was a little confusing, just a bit. I needed to kind of read it twice. It was more of the order of the layout, not necessarily
how it's explained.
how it's explained. Once I kind of read something, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Let me reread this. I'm like, oh, okay, this all makes sense now. It took me 2 or 3 reads to understand it. It's not a long rule book.
Not that you really understand how to fix it, but just something to note.
It's just something to note that.
So if Anne were here,
Yes.
she would have said quick reference guide ? Do you guys feel like this game needs a quick reference guide?
A quick reference guide wouldn't have been a bad thing. Sometimes I got a little confused with how the alchemy cards played into it and which ones won. But I don't know how you would summarize that on a quick reference guide. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I mean, it's hard to say. If there was a way to easily do it, it would have been beneficial, but
Can't hurt type of thing.
But I can't knock them for not having it, because I don't know how it would have been done.
And it played rather well without it. I didn't feel like we ever needed to.
It wasn't enough steps to complicate anything. The most complicated thing was you can't play an alchemy card
Until you're
played out of that suit.
Then if you're out of those, then you get shamed.
Yes.
I mean, it was fairly straightforward enough that it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, I think the only time that I ever had an issue of what was going on was when you had your card that allowed you to get more Godsend cards, and then I had a card that got Godsend cards, and then you had another card that got 3 more Godsend.
Such a random
Yeah.
circumstance.
And if we did that out of order, it really wouldn't
it was
matter too
random.
much.
It was. I mean, there was a little bit of a picking mechanism, but
But like, there was only 3 rules to know. It was, all right, whoever lost plays a suit. Everyone has to match that suit.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't match it, I play an alchemy card. I can't play an alchemy card.
I get shamed.
I get chained.
well, the way
And if
that
anything doubles, they get neglected.
Right.
the way that our stream works is Josh reads all the rules. Josh verbalizes the rules to Matt, and I basically go in
Learning
knowing-
them on stream.
Exactly. So you have all types of
Experience in
exactly.
the rules, yeah.
Josh, right before we called Ken to start the stream, comes up to me and goes, "You're gonna love this game. It looks very simple. You're not gonna have a problem. It's not overly complicated."
That was Matt.
Oh, was it you?
Yes.
Oh, you're the same people at this point. But yeah, being
So-
able to grasp it quickly is what mattered to me.
The most important question of the evening, aside from do we get to keep the game, is would you play it again?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely for me. This is a fun, quick game that it was beautiful.
So, are you asking in general or tonight? Because the answer to both of those is yes.
So there you go. I hope you guys see that we actually did really enjoy the game a lot. Other than that, is there anything else that you folks would like to add?
That's it. I think we're good for a sign off.
Okay.
I'm the winner.
Okay, so thank you all for joining us. This has been another fantastic Twist Gaming presentation. Go check out Tournament at Camelot by WizKids, currently on the internet and in your friendly local game store.
You saved yourself.
What? All right, so thank you everyone for joining us this evening. We would like to remind you that this stream and all this week's streams are sponsored by
Tournament at Camelot by WizKids.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
guys.
So this is Twist Gaming signing off for this evening. See you all later. Take care. I'm Matt.
I'm TP.
Josh.
Follow us. Have a good night.
And you stop recording.